Come on in, pull up a chair and take a load off because today I'll be reviewing and paging through Pathfinder 60 Feet Under from Paizo Inc. So is this an exciting next chapter in the Agents of Edgewatch adventure path? Or should you be digging a hole and burying this about 60 feet down so you don't have to ever see this again? Well, you're going to find out right after this. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. As I mentioned in the open, I'll be reviewing 60 Feet Under in just a moment. But first, I do want to point out, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't yet. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because not only will it let you know when I upload videos such as this, it'll also tell you when my live stream, The Daily Dope, airs Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. All right, as I mentioned, we are going to be taking a look at Pathfinder 60 Feet Under. It is from Paizo Inc. This is Chapter 2 of the Agents of Edgewatch Adventure Path. It's written by Michael Sayre. This book clocks in at 96 pages. It can be had in softcover for $24.99, or you can grab the PDF for $17.99. Swing on over to the other channel because, ta-da, there's the book. So let's jump on in. And I will discuss some aspects of this, but I'm not gonna spoil everything. So I like to keep some surprises. So as I mentioned, this is the second chapter in the Agents of Edgewatch Adventure Path, and I enjoyed the first, which was the Devil at the Dreaming Palace, which I had mentioned actually had kind of a serious influence from Devil in the White City, the book by Eric Larson. This doesn't really strike me as having any sort of film or book or movie sort of connotations to it. It is broken up into 4 chapters. I will tell you right off the bat, I found this disappointing compared to the first chapter, Devil at the Dreaming Palace. So what eventually, at the end of the first chapter, the player characters learn that there's a plot to possibly rob one of the banks. And this is where this picks up. So there's a few different locations that could possibly be the banks that are going to be robbed. Now, keep in mind, this is all taking place during this Radiance Festival. It's almost like World's Fair that's going on in the city of Absalom. And the player characters are essentially new recruits to the Watch, and they call it the Edge Watch because they're in charge of looking out for the area that the festival is taking place at. I should say festival. It's way larger than just a fair. That said, I'm not sure why they would be tasked into checking out and investigating the possible bank robbery, because there are all different watches in Absalom, and we're going to see there's actually a section later on in the book that discusses them, because, you know, I don't know, because the banks happen to reside there in the Palisade. There's a section of the city that has been kind of devastated, that was rebuilt specifically for this festival that takes place like every 100 years. So the first chapter involves some investigation, but not really investigation. And this, I think, is a problem with a lot of modern role-playing games. I'm not just picking on Pathfinder. We see it in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons as well, where it's just make a roll, and if you succeed at that roll, then you get the information. Or if you're trying to convince somebody to share information with you, maybe you're intimidating them, or maybe you're sweet talking them, and all it basically is just roll a die. If you succeed, well, there you go, you get the info. If you don't, you either don't get the info or you'll get the info some other way, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of an investigation in the first place. And I find that pretty weak. That's weak sauce in my book. If you've got players that are going to sit there and spend a ton of time creating these intricate backstories for their characters, then when you're playing the game, they need to have like some sort of an idea of what exactly they're trying to do. So I'll give you an example. I run a lot of Call of Cthulhu, and my players know if they are going to try to use fast talk or charm or something like that, they have to tell me what are they doing. They can't just say, okay, I'm making a fast talk roll their dice and expect to succeed or fail. No, they have to tell me what's going on. There's too much of this just roll a die, get the info in this. And it's kind of, saying that this is an investigation, but it's not. An investigation is you find clues and you use those clues to piece together what's going on. The clues don't necessarily point you directly at this is it. So I found it pretty weak. So eventually the player characters are going to find out who's trying to pull off this bank heist and where the bank heist is going to take place. A lot of combat throughout this. This is just really, this whole adventure is just really, really too heavy into combat, in my opinion. So what eventually will happen is the player characters learn who's behind this new thieves guild that's trying to weasel their way into the city, which once again, that is something to me that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You would think a city's thieves guild would effectively crush any competition that's trying to get involved. But who knows? The reality is that this dungeon crawl at the end, I do like it. It really does bail out this adventure because, to be honest, without this last chapter, a pretty interesting dungeon crawl, I would really give this a negative review. I really, really would. So anyway, so eventually the player characters are going to go on this dungeon crawl and they find that there is a, oh my gosh, now I'm trying to remember. It's skin saws. There we go. I keep wanting to say stitch saw, but it's not. It's skin saw. So if you remember, there was this cult back in Rise of the Rune Lords. I don't know if they've shown up in other adventures or not. I can't tell you. I'm not overly familiar with everything out for Pathfinder. So some folks will be like, oh, cool, that cult is back, because they are pretty weird and pretty diabolical as well. Other people might be saying, really? Didn't we deal with them during Rise of the Rune Lords? What's up with this? But this is a pretty interesting dungeon crawl, all in all, that really does bail the adventure out. Then we get into the section talking about the different kinds of guards and watch throughout Absalom. Then we get some information about Vudra. So we do actually have some kind of regional information. This is kind of an East Indian, little bit of Asian influence to this. Actually, I found this very interesting, although I got to point out, not a lot of page space devoted to it. I would have liked to have seen more of this, but I assume we're going to see that in an upcoming supplement. Now we get into the toolbox. We've got some cool new magic items. We get a new archetype, which the players can actually achieve. So pretty interesting because there's another group, another watch that they will be working with, and I thought that was kind of interesting. So we get a bestiary with some new creatures, the Skin Stitch, the Terrafund. I have seen the Terrafund. And we'll get a couple of NPCs. This is your big bad. And this is your ally from the other watch, who the player characters play their cards right. They can actually end up trying to achieve that new archetype. And that's it. That's what we get inside the adventure. All of 96 pages. And once again, we do get kind of that cool, almost like police gazette at the end. I do like how they've been doing this so far in the adventure path. All right, so that is 60 feet under. Let's swing on over to the other camera, and I will share my final thoughts and give this a review score. So as I mentioned, as we were paging through, I thought, I got to be honest, I find this to be kind of a weak adventure. First, especially the first 3 chapters. First two chapters are kind of nothing burgers. As I mentioned, the first chapter is you're kind of investigating different possible locales that are going to be robbed. And a lot of it's very meh. So like, okay, go find out something from this person, go back to the original location, share that information, get 30 experience points. So once again, nothing too thrilling. Like I said, far too many just roll whatever, and if you succeed, boom, here's the information. It's not even a clue, right? Like in Call of Cthulhu, you find clues that you have to piece them together and figure out what is going on. Absolutely nothing like that in 60 Feet Under. Then again, do have to say it's bailed out at the end because the dungeon crawl at the end is pretty interesting. There's some pretty creepy creatures down there. There's some good new magic items. Another aspect of this that I thought was very strange is the first 3 chapters, the available treasure is super weak sauce. There's like nothing good. And then in the last chapter, it's like tons and tons of goodies. Now, they're all not phenomenal, treasure items, magic items, things like that. But there's a lot of it. It's kind of like, okay, now it's overflowing with goodies. So, I don't know, kind of weird. Anyway, do like the adventure toolkit at the end. I like the additional information about the various different watches. All in all, the adventure itself, even with the pretty cool dungeon crawl, like I said, it's a disappointment from the first chapter. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give 60 Feet Under a 6 out of 10. I'm not saying it's terrible or bad or don't pick it up. I just thought it was a letdown because I was actually very impressed by the first chapter. All right, that's it for this time out. Hopefully, we'll see chapter 3 of the Agents of Edgewatch pump things back up again. Who knows? We will find out. All right. As I said, that's it for this time out. Once again, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ring that notification bell. It'll tell you not only when I upload videos such as this review, it'll also tell you when my live stream, The Daily Dope, airs Monday through Thursdays right here on YouTube as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. All right, so as I've been wrapping up my videos during this never-ending pandemic, here's hoping all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. I'll see you next time. Oh, you're still here. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, click right here. And of course, if you want to see one of the latest episodes of the Daily Dope, click right on up here. And if you want to roll the dice, take your chances, see what YouTube thinks you might like from the channel, give a click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I'll see you next time.